regulated industry. We're fully aware that this industry is regulated by NCAA, that's the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority. So if there are any issues at all, and we have another agency that needs to make some inquiries about an airline, because they are a body on their own, the right channel would have been for them to approach the NCAA to say that, look, we have a concern or we need some clarification about one of your airlines doing ABCD. Are you aware of what is going on or what exactly is happening? Then NCAA would have, given them the full details. And if that is not even the case, or if they felt that that is not needed, which ordinarily should have been the right approach, yes, you can write us. I mean, you can write us directly to say, Airpeace, we got these complaints about you. Can you provide us an explanation of what is going on? Like I said earlier, we did all know the request, but it's not for you to put it out there in the public, knowing fully well that when our dear press pick it up, it could be, misrepresented as something else, which exactly is what is going on and why we are here today. Now, during the inquiry, when the news broke out the following day, it wasn't referred to as an inquiry, or rather, it was more or less like the federal government of Nigeria is investigating Airpeace. The truth is, a lot of people might not know the implications of just that heading alone. You are talking about the federal government of your country investigating the biggest airline in your country that has bent backwards 360 degrees for this country, that is representing this country out there, that is putting this country on the global map, making Nigeria proud. Not only that, this is an airline that stood out for this country during the COVID season, doing a whole lot of repatriation flights free, bringing in the COVID-19, vaccines free into this country without asking for anything in return. I cannot remember how many times we went into India to bring in the stranded Nigerians there that had no money to come back. This same airline, during the xenophobic attack, without waiting for anybody, without asking for a kobo in return, went out there twice to bring Nigerians into this country. The same thing to Sudan. When nobody felt it safe to go into Sudan, this same airline did. This same airline this year broke the shackles, the huge exploitation that Nigerians were facing in the hands of those foreign airlines. This is not even hearsay. I can use myself as an example. I went into London for meetings 3 times early this year, before March, before we started. And on every single event, I was buying tickets as high as almost 18 million for my trip, one trip. I'll come back to that. The chairman visited the Fccpc, he honored their inquiry. Right there, they debunked the fact that they did not put it out there that they are investigating Airpeace, that it was just an inquiry. They were even saying to the chairman, oh, but why didn't you debunk the news? But it is not the responsibility courtesy of Airpeace to debunk the news because we didn't put it out there in the first place. So if the inquiry had been misrepresented, the onus lie on the originator of the letter to have said, no, this wasn't our intention. And he went as far as breaking it down, explaining everything to them during the meeting. Before you say that an airline is exploiting someone, for goodness sake, how much information do we even have about airline operation? What exactly defines the ticket cost? How do you even come about the cost of a ticket? It is the operating cost of that flight. The operating cost. Start talking about fuel, which we all know contributes almost 60 to 65% of your operating cost. Today in Nigeria, we're buying 1 liter of fuel at almost 1,400 naira per liter. If I have to operate a 1-hour flight from here to Abuja, from here to Owerri, to Enugu, to Port Harcourt, I'm going to be using about 4,000 liters of fuel. And that's costing me almost 7 million naira. Now it depends. If there is weather and the captain will have to hold, or there is any kind of disruption, I'm going to burn more than that. So on the average, 1-hour flight is going to cost me 7 million naira on fuel alone. And we're talking about you charging exploitative fares. Now I'm talking about the ACMI cost itself. When we lease the planes, because we all know the challenges that we are facing, we go out there at extremely putting everything on the line. Everything to make this aviation industry what it should be. Your journey, your striving to fulfill, to satisfy the customers. You go out there, you get planes at very high cost. You bring them here. ACMI cost per hour. On the average, it's going to give you like $4,000. Please, can somebody help me? $4,000 per hour. Today, how much is $4,000 per hour? That's giving you almost another 7 million, right? So let's add it to the fuel. That's 14 million, 1-hour flight. I haven't left the flight, just 1-hour flight. Then we talk about insurance cost. What Nigerian airlines pay for insurance is like times 3, times 4 of what other people pay in other climes. Do you know the reason? Because Nigeria is stigmatized. We bear the brunt of this. We pay for this. Insurance cost alone is going to introduce almost another 5 million on one flight. Then you talk about the cost of funding. Capital industry. This is a very sensitive sector. This is a sector that I tell people, you carry human blood on your shoulders. So you cannot afford to take anything for granted. You cannot manage nothing because there is no bus stop in the air. So it simply means you've got to do everything humanly possible. Follow the regulation, the safety requirement, the protocols, every single requirement for a safe flight before you take off. So at the end of the day, I'm just talking about operating costs. I'm not even I'm not even talking about the airlines, your own benefit or profit. No, I'm just talking about operating the flight. So at the end of the day, you realize that for you to operate 1 hour flight, you're talking about a cost of almost 20 million. I'm getting there, sir. The cost of the phones in Nigeria today is costing us, you're getting about 30% to borrow the money. If you're an American carrier or a UK carrier, you're probably just going to pay 2%. Let me remind us, we are flying the same aircraft. We are operating Boeing planes. We're operating Airbus. We're operating Embraer. These are the same planes. BA is operating. Delta is operating. United is operating. Lufthansa is operating. KLM, Air France. They are all operating the same type of aircraft that we are operating. So they are burning the same fuel. They are using the same spare parts that we have to change Naira. Before I come back to this exploitative affairs, well, we have to change the Naira because the smallest rivet on the plane, you can buy it here. Ordinary paint, if you want to do a touch-up on the aircraft, you've got to bring it in. So we have to pay dollars to bring it in. To provide you a safe flight, we have to spend the dollars. So after you borrow the money at 30%, 30%, then you will have to buy all the spare parts, buy the fuel, pay insurance at × 4 or what your other counterparts are paying in the other country. And then we will now charge 95,000 to Abuja, 100,000 to Abuja, 120 to somewhere, and then we are crucified for this. This is terribly unfair. We will not be wrong to say that this is a witch hunt. You can't do this. It's unfair. If you can't even tell us thank you, can you at least allow us to breathe?